Hello, welcome to Coming Home with Mama T. I'm your host, Tiara, aka Mama T, and on this podcast, we explore the journey of creating the life of our desires through mastering manifestation, maintaining a positive mindset, and living luxuriously. My goal is to help people trust themselves and in doing so, create a collective that is able to raise the world's vibration, removing us from a place of victimhood and creating a society that is self-led. And so today we have a very, very special guest. Please meet Jewel. Jewel is a spiritual mentor for visionary business leaders. She has supported thousands to tune into their heart frequency and elevate their impact, activate their soul's purpose, and turn their dreams into reality. So welcome, Jewel. Thank you so much for being here. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, hello. Thanks for having me today. I'm so happy. I was thinking this morning about home. I think about home often because the heart frequency vibrates in home. And I thought, oh, I'm talking with Tiara this morning. So this is just so aligned and so beautiful. And I love it. Because my work is really, truly rooted in the home of the heart. And coming back to heart is something I feel really passionate about in terms of, society, the collective needing to drop out of the thinking, over analytical, over controlling, over thinking mind and into the heart. And so I've supported thousands of people over the years. I was a career practitioner for many years, for a couple of decades before launching into my own business. And I just love to continue. I've been continuing to support many to really heal into their vision and, fulfill that soul's purpose and come home to themselves. And there's so many directions we could go today. So I'm really excited about this conversation because there's so much here.
I love it. So I want to start at the beginning. So like where did you start on your own heart journey and being able to educate people to come to their heart center?
Well, that's a really loaded question. I started on my own heart journey through experiencing tragic loss
Mm.
and being called to really turn inward and see and look and acknowledge that there is something much larger at play here. That the divine is something, is an entity, is an energy that exists within me, and that started me on a spiritual journey over 2 decades ago. And it was funny because when I was working in my traditional career as career advisor, I always got to shut my door and have conversations with my clients that went beyond the protocol of the government agency I was working with. And we always, no exception, tuned into the heart, tuned into the spirit. And that has become the way that I have realized that I'm wired. And there's always a heart connection. There's always messages that flow through the heart that if we listen, we can connect with. And once we do, we can begin to really expand and move into this beautiful life and beautiful dream that we have. So it was a gradual opening of the heart. It was a gradual connection with the heart. It was a gradual journey to supporting people. And now the way that I support people is very dedicated, it's very intentional, is very focused. And I've created, by virtue of creating this for myself, have created the heart language healing technology because I needed something for myself. And nothing I was accessing out there was really powerful enough for me to heal into my vision. And so I feel really blessed and really privileged to be able to support people through this modality and through this reconnection to this heart frequency that we all have access to. Just gets hidden along the way, or blanketed by the noise.
For sure. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's so beautiful. Um, And speaking of like blanketed by the noise, do you have any insight as to why it seems like, at least like my generation, generations before, we come into this world unable to connect to the heart, or we don't know how to like go within to ourselves? And any thoughts on to like why that is like become kind of our societal norm?
Well, I think that we come in connected, and you're right, it very quickly disappears. The blanket very quickly, covers over what we inherently know. And it's, as a result of this domestication, if you've ever read the Four Agreements, what's the author's name? Don Juan talks a lot about this domestication, where we're born, we come into a family, and our families have been raised and navigating this noise in their lifetime, in their family, through generations, and it goes back ancestrally. And there's been this need for perceived safety.
Mm-hmm.
And the safety then manifests into this behavior of trying to make sure that your kids are okay. So you're born into a family, your parents really want to protect you, and don't understand that you are completely resourceful, creative, and whole in your own right, because they haven't necessarily adopted that for themselves. So generation after generation after generation, we become conditioned and programmed to, seek safety
Mm-hmm.
through and seek belonging through different behaviors, like seeking to be validated, seeking to be approved of, seeking to not cry because you're a good baby if you don't cry, seeking to get really great grades in school because if you do, then you'll be okay, you'll be safe, you'll be successful, seeking to please others.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's so much to say about that, but that's what's coming through right now.
Oh, that so resonates. I was totally the like seeking to please others, seeking to get good
Yeah.
grades, like honor roll student, perfect attendance. That was like in my programming. Like, this is how I show up in the world. This is how I'm supposed to be. I will be accepted. Like a big fear of rejection was my thing,
Mhm.
that I had to like work through and deal with and all of that. So thank you for
Mhm.
bringing that up. In that same light, I feel like as people that are like awakening and coming to this consciousness, I feel like next generations are going to have a different experience, or where we're going to support them more and being able to maintain that, like their authenticity, maintain their heart and work from that. So like I have an excitement about that. What about you?
Me too. I just felt total body chills because that's why we're here doing what we're doing. And there is nothing that will ever stop me from holding that vision for future generations. It just makes me quite emotional, actually. I have grown kids and I watch them, and it really, really resonates. Not only resonates with me, but it's just such a deep passion. And I think for so many of us who are rising into this fully expressed life and fully expressed bubbly life and work that we have and that we're really committed to, why? What is the purpose of it? And that's a really big component of the sort of foundation and entry point to my work, is really anchoring into that big why, to that bigger, larger collective purpose. Because what we desire for ourselves and purposefully, move towards, we desire for the planet.
I love that. Oh, that feels so good. I know I have body chills. Like it does.
Yeah.
It really all ties in. Like what we work on, I feel like our internal is our external, right? What we're experiencing. So it totally, when we lean into how we're feeling, who we are, where we're coming from, we can see it all reflected in the world around us. And so that is just immaculate.
Yeah, and I mean, when that filter, that the lens that we see ourselves through, we experience ourselves within, and then move that expression from within to without. When the filter is through the heart versus through the head, that's been conditioned, been programmed, been um, led to just be safe and stay fairly cloistered and fairly small and have limitations and have definitions and make meaning out of everything, that filter is really limiting to
Mhm.
me. Whereas the heart is just so expansive. I mean, it's literally connected and in sync with the heartbeat of the universe. It's infinite and limitless. So
I love
I
it.
think that the lens that we choose to perceive through is just so important and integral to how we proceed
Yes. I feel
and
like,
grow.
you know, and what I'm going through and what I'm experiencing currently in my life, I am tapping into like, all right, if I'm going through from my mind, I know that that's like more fear based.
Mm.
And then when I'm going through my heart, that's more like it's more expansive, it's more fun. I feel the excitement. Like I can tell through those two different variations of emotion. When I'm looking like when I look for, you know, getting laid off, and now I'm like looking at okay, opportunities to bring in income alongside my business. All right, well, do I want to look at something that like, am I looking at jobs from the like, oh my God, I gotta get like I gotta have something so I can have a safety net. Da, 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 da. Like if I'm going down that road and I'm like, oh nope, let's step back. That means we're starting to apply to things that we're not gonna enjoy when we if we actually get it. We're gonna go down this whole path of putting ourselves back into a previous cycle that we've already done the work to remove ourselves from. So let's stop. What
Mhm.
does heart say? Where are we go? Are we safe? What are the actual facts that are going on right now? Am I already supported? Yes. So like let's work from there. And like that's how I train myself to like really take a step back.
Yes, baby. Yes, yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, because it's so expensive. Like there's so much that you haven't yet discovered about what's available for you from here. Like, thank you, layoff. And there's so much available here that if you're trying to logically think about it and, carry through with all of these applications or looking at what the opportunities that exist are, you're not tapping into what doesn't yet exist
Mm.
and or creating that or from that or with that. So, yeah, it's so expensive. The heart is.
Magic. That's the word that's coming to
Yeah,
mind. It's magic. It's so
it
like
is.
it all ties into like manifestation, which is like I feel like a big conversation for a lot of people. Like, how do I bring in more of what it is that I desire to experience in my life? And then we go back and forth on this spectrum of like safety, safety, safety. But this is where my heart is, and this is what makes me happy, and this is what like is fulfilling to me, and then all of this. But safety, 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 and we kind of like balance on this weird line and have to kind of pull ourselves back, come back to the heart, come back to the home, come back to the place that really feels
Exactly.
good.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, this tug of war is that's that is the work is navigating that tug of war and recognizing that the messages about needing safety are all indeed illusions, that it's not real. It's yeah, that's the work. That is the work, always coming back to heart. And I feel like society has disconnected and distanced itself from the heart of the planet. I mean, if you look at the condition of the planet, you look at the condition of humanity, you look at the condition of structures, whether they're societal or cultural or educational or familial or political or religious structures, that we've just really distanced ourselves from the heart. And coming back home is such a beautiful connection point for us. I'm so glad that you and I met, because as soon as I met you, it wasn't like you said a minute ago. Um, you said like when you're in your joy and when you're doing what you love and you're engaging in all of possibility, you're just feeling very different, and you're also emanating such a different frequency. The energy that comes off of you and off of any of us that choose to vibrate in that frequency is just so different, and it's felt. And because society does not believe what they cannot see, they don't believe in many in society
Mhm.
don't believe in energy and don't believe in the power of frequency, and the power of heart frequency is the most potent of all, in my opinion.
Oh, for sure. It just saying that it reminded me I have another friend who works in like the quantum, and I remember one time having a conversation with her, and she was like, anything that you are looking to manifest in your life, put it in your heart. Like work
Mm.
it from your heart. Like, go to your heart chakra. Once it's there in your heart chakra, it'll manifest in your physical form. Like so it's so perfectly said. And I'm seeing more and more people kind of, they might use different words, but it's all the same vibration in terms of how we're talking about creation, how we're talking about living, how we're talking about tapping in to our true selves and being that self-led person. And so it's magical to witness this growing and expansion of the community and the collective.
It is, and you're so right. It's all the same message, and we're expressing it ever so uniquely based on our own blueprint, and our own really, really one of a kind expression. But it's all the same message, and that's how I feel about all religions across the board. It's all about God. It's all about the divine source, however you want to name it. It's all the same thing. And so the more of us that do rise into this voice of heart leadership and,
Mm.
develop this heart language and the ability to use like human language, which is how the human understands how to articulate things, among other ways. And I'm talking about the language of words and art and sound and, nature and all of it. But to really develop this heart language is so key in my mind, to be able to harmonize, come into this place of harmony and alignment, and all those words that we all use. What do they actually mean?
Hmm.
They're all energy, because words are energy. So
Oh, I
yeah.
love it. And you said harmonize, and as someone that's a big lover of music,
Ah.
it's just like I always, when I talk to someone that might be new to understanding energy, or trying to wrap their head and grasp what do I mean when I say frequency? What do I mean when I say energy work? I always turn it back to music, and I was like, have you ever listened to, like, I don't know, an Adele soundtrack and immediately felt sad? Like, and people resonate with that, and I was like, resonate, that's like you're matching that energy, that feeling, you are empathizing. That is what frequency is. And so, when we come into balance with ourselves, when we talk about balancing our heart chakra, balancing all that, we're coming into harmony, we're coming into resonance, we're coming into heart, into home. And
Mm-hmm.
beautiful journey.
It really is. It reminds me of when I was younger. My mom used to take me to the symphony every Friday night. And I remember like just sitting there being like transported into another world, and just getting body chills right now, just thinking about it. And, the harmonization of all the different instruments in um, in creating and giving sound to the masterpiece that the masters have created through divine co-creation. And I would sit there and I would just be in awe, and my whole body would tingle, and I would just be like, I wouldn't want to leave. And those moments they have been life-defining moments for me, where I touched into the sound of the divine, the sound of energy, the sound of highest energetic frequency. And that's,
Mm.
that I love that you've brought that to the people that you speak to around understanding energy, because music is a really great way to connect with how energy can impact us as humans.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And even like it's so funny. I watched a video of like when I did show choir back in like high school, so many eons ago. And was like talking with a friend, and it reminded me because my director, she was saying to us, she's like, it's always interesting to hear what like chords resonate with the group, and you can tell the energy of the group and how they get along. Because there will be chords where like some years we're like really leaning into like the dissonant chords, the chords that are a little like they're not supposed to really go together, but it makes this like
Mhm.
very interesting sound. And you can know that like people are fighting in the group, like outside of like off the stage, people don't get along. But when there's like a really good like harmony note and it sounds like and it just resonates, you know that that choir is like they're friends. They're like buddies. They're probably gonna create lifelong friendships. And she pointed it out and I was like, this is true. It's so true. And I like thought about that, years later. And I'm like, yeah, there are people from this, like when that group where we had really good harmony that I still talk to today. Like I've known for a very long time. Maybe not everybody in the group, but like I have some really deep like connections with some great people from that space. And so it's just magic how it all ties in.
Wow, that's such a great story. I love that. It's so amazing. It does tie in, and it reminds me of 2 years ago, or maybe it was even no, it was 2 falls ago. I went back to Ontario to visit with my mom, and she and I went to a Sounds of Nature experience, and we were walking through nature and we were tuning into the sounds of nature. And as a group, there was a group of about 16 of us. We entered into this sort of oasis, beautiful oasis in the forest. And the facilitator asked us all to hum. And we hummed, and she said, doesn't matter, there's no specific, tone, just hum as your heart feels to hum. And when everybody started to hum, there was this symphony that began to happen. And then thousands and thousands and thousands of birds flew over and were in harmony with us. They were all singing in the moment that the humming just struck this resonant chord. It was quite extraordinary. It was magic. Yeah.
Chills. That's amazing. It's so like heart led, right? Like when we're heart led, that's where those magical moments happen. And it's not about like making $1 million or anything. Like that's like true connection. That's the richness of life right there.
Who knew that, becoming wealthy is actually about being still enough and humming, quite
Mhm.
literally. That is where the wealth begins.
Oh yeah.
Amazing. Yeah.
So beautiful. I love it. So for the audience members listening that are like, Jewel, how do I work with her? What does it look like? All of that good stuff. Tell us more.
Well, you can certainly reach me by email. My personal email will be in the show notes,
Mhm.
as well as my website. And I'm always open to connections. I'm always open to people reaching out to me on social media. Jewel Veitch is on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, and I'm on LinkedIn. And I am launching my second season of my podcast, Conversations with Jewel, on Monday, actually, April 15th. And so you can stream that on Spotify. And just this second season, I'm actually dedicating to Heart Language Mastery series. So each episode is going to relate to developing and learning the heart language and how to really master that, so that you can be communicating with yourself through your heart, with your heart, in a higher quality, higher frequency way. And just find me on social media, and my website is www.jewelveitch.com. My last name is V as in Victor, EITCH, jewelveitch.com. And I have lots of different offers, ranging from the high five figures all the way down to $37 and everything in between. So people can enter at any point depending on where they're at, and chatting is the best way, because then we can evaluate what, where someone is at and what the best entry point to get started is going to be. So,
Wow,
yeah.
that feels so good. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Thank
Is,
you.
is there anything else that you feel called to share with us today?
Keep it simple and follow your heart. It's so simple. And those words are so powerful. Make a decision to follow your heart today. It's a choice. It's an absolute choice in every single moment.
Mm, that is perfection. It's always a choice. We have the choice if we choose to take it.
We do. We do. We sure do.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Joel. I am so, so happy and blessed that you showed up and shared yourself and your heart with us today. For those looking to connect, all of the information is in the show notes. So thank you for listening. Remember, like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks for having me.